your socks! Hey!
The Lost Art with Andrew Cox podcast. Marine Corps League and Till Valhalla Project Ambassador. Now streaming on all major podcast platforms. Thanks for tuning in to the podcast that's given a voice to our veterans. The Lost Art with Andrew Cox. Hello, my friends, and welcome back to the Lost Art Podcast, that podcast giving a voice to our veterans. I'm your host, Andrew Cox, and today we're having a My Veteran Story. But before we get into the episode, are you enjoying the podcast? And make sure you go to the website. That's thelostart.podbean.com. Go check us out, see what we're all about. If there's any way you can help support us and getting our veteran voices out for all to hear, it'd be much appreciated. Also, a big shout out to the Till Valhalla Project out there doing amazing things. If you don't know anything about that organization, go to their website. That's tillvalhallaproject.com. If there's any way you can help support them, please do so. And last but not least, for all you Marines out there, you jarheads, even you FMF sailors out there, there's a place for you once you get out. That's right. It's called the Marine Corps League. Go ahead, go to their website. That's mcleague.org. Go check that out and become a member and help us get our numbers up. Are you a Marine veteran? Are you missing that bond you had on active duty? Then I have a place for you. Join the only congressionally chartered Marine Corps Veteran Service Organization, the Marine Corps League. Get that brother and sisterhood back in your life. Become one of the fewer, the prouder, a Marine Corps League member. All right, with that, I got James Russell here. Jim, how you doing?
Doing good, Andrew. Thank you.
Awesome. It's good to have you on here. I'm excited to hear your story, so it should be a good time.
It will. I'm looking forward to it.
Awesome. Well, hey, let's start at the beginning. Let's go back to where you grew up.
Right.
What was that like, and then what drew you into military service?
Okay. Well, I was born in a place called Garden City, Michigan, which is just outside of Detroit, but I grew up in Detroit.
Oh, okay.
We had a house down there, so yeah, life was Detroit. It was you battled to survive and did that fun stuff. So I'm a city boy, but I like the South better. So
Yeah.
I've lived South now longer than I've lived up there, but those were
Oh,
my
wow.
days. And what brought me to I knew I wanted to become a Marine when I was 11, but
Oh,
both my
wow.
grandfathers were World War II veterans. My uncle was in Korea. My other uncle was in Vietnam. I had a sergeant major uh, uncle.
Wow. Okay.
So my whole family was military, and so
Yeah.
it was very much instilled in us. And so when I hit my senior year, I walked down to the recruiter station. I was probably the easiest Marine they ever recruited because I walked in and I just looked. I didn't. I said, "Where's the Marine Corps recruiting office?" And where I
Yeah.
lived at the time, I lived in a place called Joppatown, Maryland. So I had to go up to this little town called Bel Air, and
Yeah.
you went down this. It was like a two-level shopping center, old shopping center, and you go in there,
Okay.
and they had them down the hallway in the back.
Yeah.
Because nobody, very few go in that room, right? They all get them before they
Right.
go there. But yeah, it was easy. I walked in, and my recruiter was there. His name was Gunnery Sergeant Hal Shields, and he said, "Can I help you,
Okay.
young man?" I said, "Yeah, just tell me how to become a Marine." He goes, "I like you already." The rest, and so then I entered the delayed entry program, and actually swore in February 24th in my delayed entry program,
Okay.
February 24th, 1987.
Oh, wow.
And what's ironic about that is my daughter was born February 24th, 2007. So
Oh, wow.
I said, "Wow!" I actually just realized that too. I showed it to her. I'm like, "Wow, isn't that weird?"
That's wild.
So yeah, so I left. We left a week early, because we were in Baltimore, and so we
Mhm.
had to take the train. But so I had to be in the hotel on August 5th with my buddy. I recruited two guys from high school with
Oh,
me,
nice.
so I
Yeah.
actually went in as a PFC.
Ah, very good. Yeah.
So he said, "Hey, go recruit a couple guys. We'll get you a rank." I'm like, "Okay, I'm all about that." So yeah, so I started boot camp August 12th of '87 and graduated November 5th. And from there,
So, well, hey, real quick. Now you said you took the train down from
it was a bus.
Baltimore. Oh, a
Yeah,
bus.
yeah, we
Okay.
took a bus.
Now, how long did that
So,
take from Baltimore down?
oh
Was it like a
well,
24-hour deal or?
yeah, it was 24 hours because we
Yeah.
had to stop so many places, pick up more guys. Um, we actually stayed in a hotel in Baltimore
Uh-huh.
that weekend before we left. So,
Oh, okay.
I think he was just getting us time to be away from family, get our heads together before we went down. That was
Yeah.
something he did for the three of us, and we had rules. We could only be out so late. He made us have
Yeah, yeah,
rules.
yeah.
So
Yeah, that's the way it
yeah,
goes.
so it was fun. So yeah, in boot camp. Well, I'll tell you a little story real quick.
Yeah, go ahead. Tell me
I
all
have
about boot camp. It's good.
Well, the funny thing is you'll laugh about this. So Full Metal Jacket came out right at that
Yeah.
time,
Yeah, yeah,
and
yeah.
I had just started dating my girlfriend, and now
Okay.
we're no longer together. But I had started dating her. The first movie I ever took her to was Full Metal Jacket.
No kidding.
And so all I got is you can't go in the Marine Corps. I'm like, I already signed up. I'm going. So
Very nice.
I saved it the following week, and Snow White released, and I took her to that one the second
Oh,
week.
nice. Okay.
But anyhow, so yeah, so boot camp was great. I did the worst thing I could have done. I knew because my recruiter, told me a lot. He was a drill instructor at one time, so he told me a lot to
Yeah.
prepare. And I was the guy who was right on the weight. I was a bigger guy, but
Yeah.
my height said I had to weigh this, but you don't really carry that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So I did graduate under I was supposed to graduate at 173. I weighed 172 and 3/4 pounds.
No kidding.
So
Wow.
yeah, and I hadn't weighed that since I was in like eighth grade. I
Oh,
only
wow.
weighed like 200. It wasn't like that I was
Yeah, yeah.
crazy out of shape, but I played football. I was a lineman, so it was
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
natural.
yeah.
But yeah, but I could do pull-ups. And
Mm-hmm.
I made the mistake of, I'm the fat guy that put the two red stripes on my shirt because I could only eat
Yeah,
so much.
you're right.
And so I struggled for two pull-ups so I could
Okay.
go to the head. Yeah, bad mistake because then the competitiveness came out on me
Yeah.
when we got to PFT
Uh-huh.
and I did 37 for him.
Oh, man.
Yeah, guess what happened?
Oh, they
I,
they probably ate your lunch there.
yes, they did. I was on the quarter deck every day for the rest of boot camp.
You were trying to snowball them.
Yeah, that's right. And I was not allowed. You're doing 20 or not, or you're not going. Period.
Yeah,
So,
yeah,
yeah. But hey, you know what? I did it to myself, but it was fun. I didn't care.
yeah. Yeah, 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 yeah.
I learned
Very
pretty
nice.
quick. It was all about doing what they wanted me to do anyway. So,
Yeah, that's true. And now you didn't have any hiccups or anything in boot camp. You
nope.
just the 3 months straight through.
Yep. No hiccups at all.
Nice.
Went through everything, qualified. I missed my expert rifle by 3 points, and I messed that up on the rapid. But if from 500 yards away, I don't miss.
Nice.
That's what we. That's why I used to joke with people. Yeah, I'll just stay away from you. No problem.
Yeah, I'll get you from the five. It's all good.
Exactly. And 200, you got a better chance of 200 rapid fire. So.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so from boot camp, I went back up, for those 2 weeks. They send you back home, and then I went military way. They sent me out to Camp Pendleton for School of Infantry.
Oh, okay. Very nice.
I didn't understand that, why they didn't just send me to Lejeune since I was already in Baltimore, but they flew me to Camp Pendleton. So I got to climb, that B Ridge and that MFR
Yeah.
and all that good stuff and do all that. And from School of Infantry, I was 8152 security force
Okay.
guard. So they sent us back to Virginia Beach, Virginia after that instead of sending me up
Yeah,
to Washington. I love the military fly back and forth. It's
that's
great.
right.
So go there for another month, and we did all that anti-terrorism, rifle, shotgun,
Right.
pistol stuff, and then I volunteered to go anywhere especially Iceland, because they were looking for people to go Iceland. They wanted unmarried guys, and I'm like, I'm unmarried. I'm ready to go. They
Yeah.
sent me to Goose Creek, South Carolina, to protect Trident missiles. So,
Nice. Trying to volunteer and you get South Carolina.
yeah. But hey, I had a good time. Met some really good guys. I'm still talking to a couple of them. They're my buddies, and
Yeah.
we're supposed to get together. We ain't seen each other in 37 years, but
Holy cow.
we're talking about getting a little reunion back together this year. So,
Yeah. Might as well, huh?
absolutely.
Yeah. Well, tell me about your time when you went to South Carolina.
Well, when I got to South Carolina, basically we were protecting Trident missiles,
Hmm.
and we would do escorts to the Charleston base and put the missiles on the ships and stuff, and
Okay.
we guarded them, and so they were always working on them 24 hours a day. Basically, what happened, we go out there for 48 hours, and we were in no fly zone. It was very secure. We had a well, I was in so there was two sections. There was a secret and a top secret area. And so I
Hmm.
was in the top secret area. That's where they actually had some launchable ones that it's not there anymore, which is why I can talk about it.
Yeah.
But they had launchable ones, big ones, and then they had the smaller ones that we took over to the ships. And that's our job. If you didn't know the alarm, or you set one off while the Marines were coming to protect it and make sure it wasn't taken, you might get in, but you didn't get out.
Right.
Right.
That makes sense.
But in our base, you had to have a special sticker on your DOD sticker, and then you had to have a special sticker on your ID, and
Oh, wow.
um then you had two armed Marines at the guard shack, and then you go a mile and a half, and you either turn left or turn right. But you only turn right if you were a Marine, because that's where our base was. That's where our barracks and everything. So our
Hmm.
barracks and the gym and the chow hall, that was over to the right of it, and it just take a left, and you were going into the yard. And uh, hold on, my podcast. So I'm doing my podcast.
You're all good.
she she walked out. What are you doing? My dog. So, but anyhow, yeah. So on the outside, you had a fence. It was 20 foot high with barbed wire, Costino, and then there was a 50 foot range with
Uh-huh.
another fence that had the same thing. And then we had lasers, and we had all kinds of
Oh,
stuff.
dang.
So,
Yeah.
and we patrolled 24 hours a day, 7 days a
Hmm.
week. But you would do 48 hours on, and then you would do 2 days of training, and then every third week you had a 96. So,
Oh, okay.
so it
Well, it's
wasn't
not
bad.
horrible.
No,
Yeah.
it was actually a fun base, because you got some excitement to do, because you're rolling, and somebody always comes back from leave, or because it was
Yeah.
Navy guy, Navy officers working in there, and
Uh-huh.
sometimes you had to yell at them a little bit more to do what you told, and you know do the things you Marines do.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
We did dumb things. We did a lot of wrestling, and
Yeah. Okay.
yeah, as
Yeah.
Marines, we do dumb things, but we were doing them young, and we didn't care. So
That's awesome. So, now, what were some of your experiences while you were there? Did anything crazy happen or
the
out of the
craziest thing
norm?
that happened to me one time is a lieutenant commander came back from um, his leave and did not get call in and get the new password, and
Oh,
he went to it was like raining and like 3:30 in the morning, and that alarm went off, and I was the point, and I told him to halt Marine Corps Sentry, and he kept walking because he was mad, and I locked and loaded and said halt. And
yeah.
yeah, at that point he got a different response from me and stopped, and he came to
Yeah.
he so I had a round in the chamber, and he came to pull it out after the sergeant of the day came out and cleared everything, and
Yeah.
I'm standing there, and I still got a round. I have not presented this to him with the clear weapon yet, and that officer comes in and went to grab my weapon, and I may have you know took the butt of it and smacked him, said, "No, you ain't taking this from me." It's not clear yet. So then they came and got it. He was not happy with me, but
Yeah.
it got fixed. So
Well, it was his fault.
it was his fault, but it was, but yeah, I was a little nervous at that point, but I was not letting him get my weapon.
That's right. Yeah. Well, you did what you're supposed to, so it's all good.
Exactly, and that's what the lieutenant colonel told him too when he came and had a little chit chat with him. So,
Yeah. Very
but yeah,
nice.
so really all I did at that base, I mean, we did a lot of
Hmm.
working out in the gym, and then what happened? I actually that's where I snapped my leg and got injured.
Okay.
We were responding to it was about 2:30 in the morning,
Hmm.
and August was actually 2 weeks before August 1st, because I I jumped over they had moats between these magazines,
Uh-huh.
and they were about 10, 12 feet wide and 12 feet deep. And
Yeah.
I jumped, and when I hit the side to crawl up, I landed in between a couple of rocks, and I heard my knee pop.
Oh,
And I went down, but I crawled up and set the four-way, and we got it cleared, and we go back. I go to the um, clinic that day, and the doc goes, you just sprained it. Go on light duty for a week, and you'll be fine.
yeah.
So we're doing other stuff, and we were doing some hand combat moves, and my buddy wrapped his leg around me. This is in the gym as we're practicing all this stuff. This is during
Yeah.
training, and all of a sudden you hear snap.
Ooh.
And I go back because now I can't even straighten my leg out.
Yeah.
And I get there, and the doc goes, you sprained it again. And the corpsman goes, hey, doc, I don't think he sprained it. My leg was 3 times the size of your knee that your knee looks like.
Oh,
Okay.
jeez.
So he goes, well, here's the deal. If I put this needle in you and I pull out yellow fluid, it's strange. It'll go down and you'll be fine. This
Yeah.
blood, we got a problem. And he pulled out 130 cc's of blood, which is what, 13
Whew.
ounces of blood. Yeah.
Yeah.
So the funny thing is, they walked away from me, and I don't usually get freaked out by needles or blood, but he just put this big needle in me, pulled out 13 ounces of blood out of me, and they walk away. And what do? Pass out, and I fall off the
Oh,
gurney.
oh no.
And I was cognizant enough to know I was falling, because I remember that I did not hurt my face. I landed with hands down, and
Yeah.
my leg was raised so I didn't smack my knee. And then they came
Oh,
in,
wow.
and they put me in a different bed and strapped me in and all that good stuff. And then they operated on me, and they did what they call a mini reconstruction on my right knee. I tore my ACL 97%.
Ooh, jeez.
Yeah, and then the MCL and PCL was torn a little bit. Cartilage was torn, so they
Yeah.
cleaned all that up, and then they replaced. They took a tendon from my leg and they wrapped it around my knee, and they
Okay.
put 2 screws in it and said, "Well, you're a young Marine. You're strong. You should be able to handle this." Well, I think that the Navy forgets how active Marines are, especially
Yeah.
when they're in you know, they, they actually run,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
and uh it didn't work. Surprisingly, the tendons stretch, I learned,
Yeah.
and I
Yeah.
stretched them pretty quick. So I went to go. By this time, I'm a lance corporal, and all I have to do is pass a PFT for my corporal now, because I've
Yeah.
been in grade long enough. I got everything I need. Mile into the run, boom, I blow the knee out again.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So this isn't like it is today. Back then it was, oh, okay, you're done. So they put me
Yeah.
on, medical, and then I rehabbed it again. They said, we're going to give you one more shot. I got into a mile and a half into the run, stepped on a rock, and it rolled right on out from me and blew out
Oh,
the
geez.
other PCL. And they said, you're done. So they did that surgery, and that's when they moved me from Polaris, Goose Creek, South Carolina, moved me up
Uh-huh.
to Lejeune for the last part of my, to 2-2, as they put me in
Oh, okay.
2-2 for the last 2 months. We were actually trying. For the last 2 months, I sat in the office of the first sergeant and I answered the phone, and did all
Yeah.
that stuff. Uh, I was the office rat, so
Hmm.
but yeah, on my crutches and all that good stuff. And then I got off crutches, and we were supposed to go to Okinawa. And he's like, "I'm taking you with me if you don't have your med board done by then." The day before we're supposed to leave, my med board came in, and they said, "You're gone. Here's."
Oh,
They
wow.
gave so, and he told me, "We're going to give you 20% because we're not going to retire you because you're too
Yeah.
young." They were honest back then.
And that is that what you ended up with?
They gave me 20, and
Yeah.
then I went to the VA. And the VA gave me 10. I appealed it. Then they gave me 30. I'm now 100, but that's
Yeah.
because 5 years ago I was diagnosed with ALS. So
Oh, I see. Yeah.
yeah, but I'm doing fantastic.
Okay.
As a neurologist says, you probably got the slowest moving I've ever seen, but that's a good thing. So, but
Yeah.
yeah, I'll take it. But yeah, so I
Absolutely.
got out November 29th of 1989. Just shy, I was only there for 2.5 years, and
Yeah.
it was disappointing to me because that's what I wanted to do.
Hmm.
So, but yeah, so from there I
So
went home, and
yeah. So what happened after you go home? At this point, you go to college or anything? Like, what did you end up doing?
I went home and I started working at the hospital as a
Okay.
nursing tech. Because the girl I met before I went in the Marine Corps, we were still
Hmm.
dating at the time.
Yeah.
And she lived up in Maryland where I lived, so I went there. By this time, my parents had moved to. My dad worked for the railroad for
Hmm.
33 years, and retired down to Florida.
Okay.
So I went back to Maryland and I started working in the hospital as a nursing tech, and then blew the knee out again,
Oh, geez.
and that was in '91.
Hmm.
Um, and then they fixed it and cleaned it all up. And then I was playing basketball with some guys from church and blew it out again when I jumped up to block a ball. Nobody hit me.
Yeah.
I just landed and it blew out. And
Oh,
so I
man.
got it cleaned up again. That was the fourth surgery. And then in 1997, I had my fifth surgery. But this time, the VA sent me to University of Florida, and
Uh-huh.
I got the head orthopedic surgeon for the University of Georgia who had done Emmett Smith's knee. He he operated on my knee with his resident, and did what they did is they took the hamstring out of my back leg to
Yeah.
replace the ACL, and I've not had a surgery since.
Oh, wow.
Now I do wear a brace because I have drop foot and all that, but they
Yeah.
would replace it now, but I would never. We won't replace it now because of the fact that I couldn't physically do the physical therapy. So
Right. Yeah. Holy moly. Man, you've had a heck of a time with that knee.
yes, I have. And so, but that's okay. It's better now. At least it doesn't feel like it's gonna blow out every time I.
Yeah, no kidding.
That's what I told him too. I walked into the VA. I'm like, I can't walk 25 feet without a buckling. You know,
Yeah.
you got to do something. I can't work.
And now did you continue working in the medical field or?
No, I got in security. I did
Oh,
security
okay.
so after I blew my knee out again in '91. That's when that girl and I we split up at that point.
Okay.
Um, and then when I did it the last time, I said, you know what, I'm not doing this. I'm moving back with mom and dad for a little bit, get back on my feet. So I
Yeah.
did that. I moved to Jacksonville, Florida, and then I got into security. And you know, everybody asked why I didn't go in the police force, and I always said, well, I don't want a gun to my side. If I'm chasing a bad guy, my knee buckles on me.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, it would be a bad thing. So I got in security and did that, and you know, met some real good guys. And from 92 to 2007. That's what I did. Um,
Okay.
and then I left security and went into um, really sales and stuff like that. And that's what I do now. I
Oh, okay.
work I work in auto and home insurance and sell in all 50 states and
Yeah.
with a company. So that's what I do
Very
now. I
nice.
work from home and sit at a desk and don't have to do a whole lot other than answer the phone.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Well, that's good. So
Yeah,
if anybody out there is needing insurance or anything like that, they can give you a call, huh?
they sure could. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
absolutely.
See, yeah, we got to get your work email or something on there so people
I'll send
know.
it to
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
you.
We'll get it on there for sure.
Yeah.
Um, wow, that's awesome. Now you're
So
pretty. I see you on the Marine Corps League stuff
yeah,
from
I'm
time to
the
time.
yes. I joined the Marine Corps League March 27th last year.
Okay.
I had known about it. Well, I'll be honest, because I uh I struggled a lot once I got out because I felt like I failed and you know, I went
Yeah.
through a long season of just never talking about my service. And in 2007, I had MRSA in my left foot, and we didn't
Mm-hmm.
know what it was, but it got really bad, and I actually had to have a toe amputated because of
Okay.
it. And while I was there, it was during Memorial Day week,
Mm-hmm.
and at the time, I still smoked cigarettes. I don't smoke anymore, but
Wow. Good
um,
for you.
yeah, I quit December 24th, 2015. Haven't
Oh,
had one
wow.
since.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Um, yeah, it was hard. That was probably the hardest thing I ever had to do.
Yeah, I imagine so. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but yeah, so I was out on the in front of the VA hospital, and we had these young Marines doing a march, and they were doing a little parade for the veterans, for
Mm-hmm.
Memorial Day. And he saw me sit up a little bit, and he goes, "What branch were you in?" And I said, "Marine Corps." And he goes, "Me too." And I go, "Yeah, I got out in '89." He tells me this long service. He goes, I'm a retired sergeant major." And I went, "Yes, sir." But the conversation I had with him, and he said, and he asked me, "Why don't I show more pride?" And I told him, "Well, I didn't go overseas at this point, and I
Yeah.
didn't do this, and I didn't do that." He goes, "Did you go through boot camp?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "Did you earn that title?" I said, "Yes, sir." He goes, "Did you get an honorable discharge?" "Yes, sir." "Then you better show that pride. You're still a Marine. It don't matter, and show that pride." So
Yeah.
I, my whole outlook changed, and
Mm-hmm.
then I started talking. Hey, yeah, I served in the Marine Corps, and nothing crazy, but now
Yeah.
I. But I always felt like, you know, I know a lot of civilians, but they don't understand me a lot,
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
and they understand, but they don't understand,
Mm-hmm.
as you know. And I said, well, I said, well, I'm going to join the Marine Corps League. So I went and joined the Marine Corps League and been active since. And I got involved right away. And our detachment here in Knoxville, I've lived in Knoxville for 15, going on 16 years now.
Mm-hmm.
But this detachment's very busy. It's the largest in Tennessee, and
Uh-huh.
we got 150 members in our detachment. And
Wow, that's pretty good.
yeah, it's a good detachment. And we do a mud run, and we have our birthday ball, and
Yeah.
we do roast program, and we do a lot. So
Yeah,
we're
that's
very
awesome.
busy, and so that's good. And then they said anybody willing to step up and do some officer work, and I said I'll do what you need me to do, take over a
Yeah.
committee or whatever. And then they said, how about being the junior vice? So now I'm the junior vice of the detachment. So I got that in
Very nice.
January. So yeah, and then yeah, so I guess our next meeting will be my 1 year. So.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, I
So
love the Marine Corps League. I think it's great.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I because I was in the band my whole time in
Right.
and we would always go to different places and perform or what have you, and there was always the Marine Corps League members there.
Yeah.
And you always, they wear the red jacket and stuff like
Yep.
that. We
I
used to
have that
call them,
jacket.
the killer tomatoes,
Right.
killer tomatoes. So, uh, anyways, as I was getting out and everything, then I was like, you know what? Yeah, I might as well, I
Yeah.
had some buddies that had joined and I was like, yeah, I'll go ahead and do it. So,
Yep.
I went ahead and joined up, and then now, working with them, I get to be the
Yep.
ambassador for them now.
Which is
So
great.
hey, yeah, I can't complain, and I get to record people's stories, and it's
Yeah,
going great. It's going
I
great.
had our web sergeant put you on our website with a link
Nice.
to you guys.
Yeah,
So I
yeah.
said, "Hey, put them on there."
Yeah, very nice. Yeah, and I'm
So
I'm always looking for veterans to come on and tell their stories. It doesn't have to be Marines.
no,
And then hope
exactly.
Yeah, and like you were saying, you kind of felt like at first that you didn't want to talk about your service and stuff like that. There's a lot of people out there that are like that.
Oh, no, no.
I guess I could ask you this: how did you get past that to be able to say, "Hey, look, I want to share my story and go ahead and do it"?
Um, I got back involved with a bunch of Marines and got that pride back. To be honest with you,
Okay.
it
Yeah,
that's the thing about the Marine Corps League. I realized, you know, when I got back involved with them, all those guys, no matter when they served, we all have the same thing. We all went through group camp. We all earned the title, and
that's right.
it made it a great thing. Now I'm involved with Marine Corps League. I'm also part of Irreverent Warriors here
Mm,
in Knoxville. I'm part of the Eastern Tennessee Marines. The guy who runs that's also a member of the Marine Corps League,
okay.
and another place called Rocky Top Veterans Foundation. And our whole goal is to reduce veteran suicide because it's crazy. So
Yeah.
matter of fact, that's what I wear on my wrist. That red bandana right
Yep.
there says Fire Team Tennessee. And the founder of the Rocky Top Veterans Foundation is also a Marine. And
Okay. Well,
he,
we need to get him on here and to talk about the
yeah,
foundation he's got.
I'll talk to him because he'll do it.
Okay.
I'll
Yeah, yeah.
message him. I'm sure he'll be happy to do it because they do a great service. They do a class every quarter where you go and this gentleman who's also a Marine. He was a major
Mm-hmm.
in the Marine Corps. Um, he teaches a class on how to help those people who need to get help,
Right.
and not to
Yeah,
be afraid to ask them if they're gonna kill themselves, because
that's
that's
right.
a myth. You know, you asking someone if they're gonna kill themselves is not gonna make them go kill themselves.
That's
So,
right.
you know, it's been it's a great thing. And of course, the fire team is because, we have teams throughout the
Yeah.
Eastern Tennessee they can call me anytime. I don't sleep real well, so you could really call me anytime and I'm probably going to answer. So,
Very nice. Man,
um,
that's really cool.
it's a great thing. So I've been having a blast and, you know, just enjoying life.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I thank you for coming on and doing this. And maybe this will inspire some other people to come on and tell their stories. I'm
Absolutely.
hoping, I'm hoping all these stories. I'm working with Marine Corps universities right now to take these stories and actually get them archived and
Awesome.
actually kept up there. So fingers crossed, knock on wood, say a prayer. That
Absolutely.
goes
Oh, I
through.
will.
So, every story that I have, veteran story, is going to basically hopefully be archived up there for Marine Corps history purposes.
Well, that'd be
Uh,
great.
so
Because
that's
I've
my
listened
goal.
to a few of them, and that's what I do now. I like to listen to one a day, or sometimes
Yeah,
two. They're great stories. I like listening to other guys talk about how they went in and what they did. You had one on the other day that he had a powerful story. He was very
yeah,
descriptive, but man, it made you understand though.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
and I think it helps me as I talk to these other young Marines that did tours in Iraq and
Hmm.
Afghanistan where I didn't have to do that. Um, Helps me to be able to talk to them in a lot of
Yeah.
ways too. So, that's been great.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's a couple other podcasts out there doing the same thing I'm doing.
Yeah.
And I just encourage anybody, man. It's important to tell your story. I think back to my dad and my father-in-law. I don't have their stories. Well, I have some of them, but
Yeah,
we
what they
never
told you,
recorded them.
but they're not recorded,
Yeah,
right? You know, um, other than my direct family, that I don't think anybody would know. I was planning. My neighbor came home in dress blues, and I
yeah,
knew at that point I wanted to wear nothing but that uniform,
yeah, yeah, yeah,
and so that's I got recruited when I was 11. They didn't even know it. So
yeah. They had you once you saw the blues. Yeah, that's
yes,
good.
they did. So
Oh, shoot, that's great. Well, hey, as we get close to the end here, I
yeah,
started doing these fully automatic rapid fire
yeah,
questions. Are you ready for these?
I'm ready.
All right, here we go. Number one, what is your proudest military moment?
It was graduating from boot camp.
Graduating
Actually,
boot
the
camp.
proudest. I take that back. So when in boot camp we take our Listerine and you.
That was my daughter. She had to
I
try to get
I
in there.
understand. That's okay. I got daughters too. Um, you take the Listerine bottle and they say swish your mouth and swallow, and everybody thinks I'm lying about that, but that's what happens. And that morning, the day of graduation, the hardest drill instructor on me, Staff Sergeant Brand, walked
Uh-huh.
out and he had a Listerine bottle, but it was clear Listerine.
Uh-huh.
And he took a swig and he handed it to me and took a swig and handed it to three others. And down the line, he looked at us and goes, "Now we're drinking buddies. Now we're Marines." And then gave us all a handshake. And
Oh,
no,
wow.
that was probably the proudest moment I had because it
Yeah,
made
yeah,
me
yeah.
feel good that I earned his respect to do that. And we walked out and graduated. So
Very cool. Yeah, I like that. That's a good one. Shoot. All right. If you could be one military leader for a day, who would that be?
Pat,
No, that's a good one. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, very good.
that would
I
be
like
a
that.
fun day.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. All
Now
right.
that's
What?
because I'm a huge Michigan fan, and the old announcer used to have what he called the George Patton horn. His
Uh-huh.
grandson sent it to him, and every time Michigan scored, he squeezed it for how many points they scored. And I grew up on
Uh,
that, so
oh, nice.
that's why I chose Pat.
Very nice. Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's cool. Um, what was your most embarrassing military moment?
That's a good question. Most of, well, actually, I will say that the most embarrassing was when I got injured, and then
Yeah.
yeah, it was you were embarrassed because you got injured. Marines don't get injured.
Yeah, that's what we say in our head, but that doesn't always
Right.
work out that
I
way.
learned that. Believe me.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. All right. If you could change one rule in the military, what would it be?
uh, that's a good question. One rule in the military, what
That's
would
enough.
it be?
Go on.
I would say look at your body fat percentage more than weight.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Okay, that's good. There's always issues, and when you're looking at all that stuff, there's never a perfect system, but
There
there's
is
got to
never
be
a perfect.
something.
There
Yeah.
is, exactly.
Let's see. Oh, what is one skill or lesson that you learned that you still use today?
How I fold my clothes.
Oh, that's good. That's good. Yeah, yeah, yeah. All right. In the apocalypse, what would be your weapon of choice?
A 50 caliber.
Ah, yeah, 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 yeah. That'll do it. That's
Yeah.
for sure. What animal best describes your time in service?
I would say probably a tiger.
Ooh, okay, good.
Looks kind and gentle, but if he snaps, yeah, you don't
Yeah.
want to do
You don't
that.
want to mess with that. Yeah, yeah, yeah. All right. And of course these are probably easy for you, but which branch of service has the sexiest uniform?
Yeah, it's the Marine Corps.
Yeah, that's right. And then what branch of service is the best?
The Marine Corps.
All right. Yeah, yeah, yeah. All right. So now this one you gotta be honest here.
Okay.
Knowing what you know now, would you do it all over again?
Yes, I would. I wouldn't even hesitate.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, as it should be. Well, man, thanks for coming on and doing this. I truly
Oh, no
appreciate
problem.
it. I want to give you a chance, words of wisdom, or anything you want to leave the listeners with right now.
Um, One, reach out to your buddies. Let them know you're there for them. There's not one veteran who's alone. We're all here for them. Veteran suicide is a big thing for me. I want to see it reduced. One, we lose one a day. That's still too many, in my opinion. You know, so, just all veterans, remember that reach out to your buddies and let them know you're thinking about them and just keep, you know, don't be afraid to go say hi to another veteran. I promise you, we're there to help too.
Absolutely. I love it. All right. Well, Jim, thanks. Thanks for coming on and doing this. Much
Oh, thank you.
appreciated. Thanks for what you're doing with the league and the other organizations that you're a part of over there. So, and if you ever need anything on my end, don't hesitate to reach out to me.
I appreciate it, Andrew.
Yeah. To all the listeners out there, if you're struggling, need help, just like Jim was saying, there are some resources out there. You can always dial 988, press option 1. You can always text 838-255, or you can go to veteranscrisisline.net and click on the chat icon. Any of those options will put you in contact with somebody that can help you out. But remember, one veteran life loss is one too many. I care about you. I know Jim cares about you. The whole veteran community cares about you. So please reach out for help. And if you're out there, you're not struggling, reach out to the buddies that you served with. Ask them how they're doing. And if they need that helping hand, please give it to them. All right. One last time, Jim. Thank you. Much appreciated. To all the listeners out there, stay motivated. Change your socks.